Good evening, Dutchman Creek faculty. We're going to continue our conversation in reference to school scores by grade level and standard with our 2015 PASS information. Once again, taking a look at their legend here, we're going to talk about column A is the total number of students tested. Column B are students whose test performance indicates that there was a weakness and need for further instruction in reference to that standard or domain. Column C are for those students whose test performance shows that they could benefit from additional activities, and column D shows students who demonstrated strengths in the test performance. And so we're going to take a look now at 7th and 8th grade information. We'll start with 7th grade science. For 7th grade science, we notice that once again there are the areas of scientific inquiry, cells and heredity, human body systems and disease, ecology, and chemical nature of matter. And for our science students, in reference to the areas of strength, we had about 47.2% of our students who demonstrated strengths in scientific inquiry. We had 52.5% of students who demonstrated strengths in cells and heredity. And we had about 53% of students with the human body system, 45% in reference to ecology, and about 49% of our students who are demonstrating strengths in chemical nature of matter. Now, one thing to point out this year is that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students were all tested in these particular areas, which is different. In the past, we had a part of 6th grade students and a part of 8th grade students. Science and social studies in 7th grade typically had all students that were tested. So for students demonstrating weaknesses, once again, the weaknesses portion is fairly low for 7th grade science, with about 17%, 16%, 13, 22%, and 17.5% of our students demonstrating weaknesses in the identified areas. So once again, very beneficial information as we plan for instruction for this year. For 7th grade social studies, our numbers are a little different, and we want to take a look here. We have about 36% of our students demonstrating strengths in European colonial expansion. The other areas are limited and unlimited government, independent movements, early 20th century conflicts, Cold War, and developments since 1989. And so if we take a look here in reference to the other areas, we have about 51% of students who are showing strengths in limited and unlimited government, about the same number of students with independence and movements, and we have 47.1% of our students with early 20th century world conflicts. About half of our students demonstrated strengths with Cold War, and 32% of our students were demonstrating strengths in reference to development since 1989. Our students who are showing weaknesses, once again, is lower. About everyone is 20% or less of students that are demonstrating weaknesses in the identified areas. And then column C is in reference to providing additional activities in reference to those standards. If we were to move on to 8th grade science, we have about 48% of our students demonstrating strengths in scientific inquiry. We have 46% of our students with biological history, 56 in earth structures and processes, 52.5 in astronomy, 45 in force and motion, and 60% in waves. Once again, the weaknesses area still fairly low, with the highest weakness for 8th grade science seems to be inquiry at 16.3%. The others are at or around 10%, with the exception of force and motion at 14.1%. And if we were to move to 8th grade social studies, we would see that the areas of discussion are settlement, the American Revolution, the new nation, Civil War, Reconstruction, early 20th century, and late 20th and early 21st century, with the students showing strengths, about 52% of our students showing strengths in settlement, 38.2 in American Revolution, 50.8 in the new nation, 57.2 in Civil War, about 54% of our students in Reconstruction, 51.7 in early 20th century, and then in late 20th century we have about 52.9%. The areas of weakness still fairly low, particularly in comparison to schools within the district, schools across the state, and our district averages. One thing to take a look at in reference to all of this data, and once again we were looking at the scores by grade level and standard, one thing to take a look at, teachers, is that in each area with science and social studies, we could benefit in each of the strands from providing additional resources in reference to the standards. And so those types of activities in reference to differentiation, more culminating projects, or activities that allow students to obtain additional information would definitely be beneficial, as we will discuss this in your PLCs, and I would encourage you to have these as major components of conversation this week and continuing in your PLC. At a later time, we will take a look at our demographic information and seeing how our subgroups of students performed in reference to South Carolina Pass for science and social studies. And as always, teachers, I truly appreciate your open mindset and receiving data and information and looking at how we can increase the performance levels for all of our students. As always, I am truly appreciative of the work that you've put in to the student success. I'm very happy to serve as an instructional leader at our school, but we're always continuing to improve student instruction, and that's definitely a topic of discussion for us. So thank you for all the work that you do. I'm very pleased with our progress and look forward to continued success. Have a great evening.